can you tell us different name for inquiry?
Different name for inquiry. This story by Ursula Le Guin, she unnames them, has such appeal for me because there are certain words in English that are inadequate to the task that's assigned to them. And so to say, what does inquiry name? What does it carve out? And what are we doing in P4C? And to what extent does inquiry sufficiently carve out or point to a territory of what we're doing? And it's like the word philosophy. And inquiry, like philosophy, comes freighted with a lot of prior thought about what it is. And so I would prefer that there would be a word besides inquiry in English that would capture whatever it is, that wouldn't require all of this, well, it's not that, or it has some of that, but it's not entirely that, it's, and all these disclaimers before we get to it. So I'm still searching for what word would work like that. I also think that when I think of P4C now, I've thought of P4C as, I call it a placeholder, because to say philosophy for children sets off already a lot of perhaps inappropriate expectations or mental images. But to say P4C to someone is to, if they don't know what it stands for yet, then what's that? A couple of times it's happened at Kailua High School, where we'll bring a visitor and they will say to the students, well, what do you think of philosophy for children? And they react with surprise. Well, what's that? And then to say P4C, oh, is that what P4C is? Is what we've been doing philosophy for children? We call it P4C. And I thought, wouldn't that be lovely if what we do could come to be recognized as P4C and it doesn't immediately trigger philosophy for children. So I would love to unname inquiry, just pull it out entirely, and then let's come up with a new, even if we have to make it up, a new sound, and then we develop and have people experience it and say, this is Kawajnanik, or whatever. We just had a Kawajnanik. So, whatever it would be. Yeah.
Interesting. So at least we need some set of sounds for that.
That's right.
Yes. So it's inspired me a lot. What you said. So it's kind of not it is not known, but it is not a word.
Exactly. 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 Yeah. You know, the when we were talking about the other day about clouds and the making of clouds, that I think that if each of us could recapture that metaphorical place just before the cloud takes shape, and that would be original mind, to borrow that dangerous expression. That original mind is just prior to the formation of the cloud. That energy before it takes on definite shape. Then, in a conversation, we could say, I'm going to use a word now, but we need to go into just before the cloud. And we're going to behold that cloud just before it's formed, but the energy around it. Then I'm going to use the word inquiry. But don't get stuck in the cloud. You know, let's back up a little bit, and then realize that there's a lot of energy that's crystallized out into this word. And so we want to capture those other things that are there in it, and then say, we could remake this cloud, what would we keep and what would we leave out? And because in a way it's from that vantage point that, again, I think is where the child is, that the most amazing things happen, because the world again takes on, I like this word, iridescent quality. It has a glow again. It has this penumbra that gets lost or obscured in ordinariness. And you know, I have artist friends who talk about if the chatter of the mind shuts off and one really is present to any visual perceptual field, that it is constantly changing. The light is always different, always different. Photographers know this. Any artist, I think, knows this. Constantly changing, constantly. And so to be in that place that's like the perceptual field in the mental space, in the pre-cloud phase, whatever you call it. Yeah. Do you know there's a wonderful scene in Nietzsche, I think it's in Zarathustra, where the madman comes into the village and he yells, "God is dead! God is dead!" And the response of the people in the village, I think he says, they blinked. Like, so what? He realizes, what? You're dead! You're dead! Don't you know? I mean, God is dead. The universe is destroyed. A whole new world has happened. And they just, you know, like people who watch too much TV. You know? And I think when you're in that, if you are in that place before the cloud, like children, it's just wonderment, just absolute wonderment. I like to think about, you know, Hume, when he talks about cause and effect, and the billiard ball, and one hits the other, and that it's just really, it's psychological. There's nothing metaphysical that holds those. There's no necessity there. And I think, yeah, wow, have you ever watched when you watch a billiard ball and you think, well, you know, in your imagination, the ball could hit and you go, whing, whing, or it could turn into an egg. And that's that pre-cloud phase. And there's so much possibility around the world, and we just get accustomed to it's orienting itself in a certain way. And not that that's incorrect, but if we get overly invested in that, then certain possibilities are just simply ruled out.